Hello, here's the result of the last pre-market trade of the day, and I will give you a new pre-market trade of the day. This was our pair, the dollar against the Czech koruna. On the H1 time frame, I marked for you this sell zone and these two or three buy zones here. As you can see, the idea was we had here this big gap, and I told you I think that we see today that this gap will be closed, and indeed this happened today. The only problem was, you can see here was the first attempt to close this gap, and exactly on the bank sell level then it bounced and was going down, and then it was a second up move, and then it closed the gap totally, and it reached here our blue sell zone. It was very late the day after the Frankfurt close and before the London close, and I personally saw no clear price action to jump here into a trade. If you jumped into a trade, you had here these two nice red candles with a little profit. If you secured it here then after the London close, and then it stopped out on the break even, the second part of the trade. But I had no trade because I did not saw any price action pattern here I could trade. Even it reacted here here early. Maybe you saw this with the bank sell level and jumped here in, but here on our sell zone I did not saw any price action. So for me it's a 0 pips trade here. Even it happened what I told you with the close of the gap, but on some days the price action gives us not a confirmation. But you know, I trade very conservative, and so we will not always have trades here. So let's start Wednesday with the new pre-market trade of the day, and I selected the dollar against the Mexican peso. As always, we're on the H1 time frame. We have here the upper trend line painted from the Metagrid software, and you can see the upper trend line crosses here a very interesting sell order zone. We have the strong sell order block and the normal sell order block, and we are above this complete market structure here. We are above this last high, we are above this last high, and here of course there are placed stop losses from the traders who are in this down move. And if I were a market maker, I would try to come here with price, then to catch here the stop losses, and then we should see a reaction. We have on the same place the trend line, we have on the same place this nice sell zone, and we are then above the bank sell level, which is also good because then we can expect that price could reverse. So of course this here is a potential sell zone if we see price action here in this area. And if we look higher, you can see we have here painted supply zone from the Hypnotic software on the H1 time frame, and the blue ones are H4 supply zone. And here you can see in this H4 supply zone we have again the two order blocks close together. So I would use this as a sell zone too, this supply zone here, but it's far away from price, but you never know what price does, so I will mark it here that we can look here for price action too. If we look below, you can see we have here the lower trend line, and it crosses not directly a order block, but you can see the next order block below this lower trend line, which is interesting for us, is here where we have the strong buy order zone and the normal buy order zone. So I would here mark this as a buy level 2 for us if price comes that far, and then we are below market structure, we are below the bank's buy level and below the trend line. This is a very nice area. Of course we have here a demand zone painted from the Hypnotic software as well, as you can see. There is not really an interesting buy order block into this demand zone. This is the reason I ignore it at the moment, and I use the lower one here where I have more confluence here in the market with all of these zones. So this was the pre-market trade for today on the dollar Mexican peso. I hope we can now catch some pips again in this week. It's not that easy these days to get pips. The market does a little bit strange things some days at the moment, but you know, we had made many pips before, and we have to be patient and don't force trades. So see you soon. Have a nice Wednesday, have a nice trading day, and many pips as always.